As Northern Australia swelters, we're wondering what the return of Donald Trump as US President will mean for global warming. Amanda Mackenzie is the CEO of the Climate Council and joins us now. Good morning to you, Amanda.
Good morning.
Amanda, what was your first reaction when the election was decided, and what were your thoughts, immediate thoughts, on the impact it would have on what you do?
I did feel sick to my stomach when I saw Donald Trump elected. I think he's been very clear that he denies the science of climate change, that he would want to invest more in fossil fuels, more climate pollution, which of course fuels the natural disasters that US has seen in Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene, which have been so devastating to communities. But the thing is, I think my second thought was Trump can't stop action, that countries around the world are deeply committed. States within the US have experienced a Trump administration before. California in particular, the fifth biggest economy in the world, really powered ahead during that time. So it's not just a story of negativity.
Trump says he wants to drill for fossil fuels. He's pretty clear about Paris and what he thinks of other international agreements on climate change targets and the like. Do you think that his rise, his influence, is going to encourage other politicians, including here in Australia, to maybe try to wind back some of the commitments, or at least slow walk commitments on things like climate targets for 2035?
Well, we did see yesterday some members of the National and Coalition government opposition federally saying, oh, let's go back into the dark ages and let's go back into more and more climate pollution. But I just don't think in Australia we'll accept that. In Australia, people are very aware of the connection between more climate pollution and more extreme weather events, whether it's Black Summer or whether it's repeated flooding in the areas of the northern rivers. People are aware that climate change is here. Consistently, our polling shows that Australians want greater action on climate change. So I think that progress will be supported by people in Australia.
In real terms, if he does pull out of the Paris Agreement again, what does that mean and what impact would that have in Australia?
Yeah, well, Trump has pulled out of the Paris Agreement before, and of course Australia and 194 other countries stayed in the Paris Agreement and kept going, committing to those targets and collaborating to reduce emissions. I think the biggest impact is probably geopolitical, that China will win the clean energy race if the US pulls back. It's been very clear that Joe Biden tried to get America into the clean energy race. The IRA legislation poured millions and millions of dollars into clean energy, but China is very well ahead in that game. So I think China is positioning itself to be the clean energy superpower of this century. But Australia, we're the sunniest country in the world. We're one of the windiest. We're now 40% powered by renewables. We actually still have the same opportunities that we had before Trump was elected. And those opportunities still present themselves to us. We can continue down that pathway very strongly.
Just for our viewers, the IRA is the Inflation Reduction Act, which had a whole lot of different measures to encourage investment in renewable energy as well. I'm just curious about this because obviously one of Donald Trump's big supporters in this was Elon Musk, who is known for creating, among many other things, electric cars, which are probably one of the most popular brands of electric cars in the world. America's a home of innovation, technological advancement. How worried are you that some of that might be put on hold, or at least not accelerate as quickly if some of these policies like the Inflation Reduction Act are scrapped?
It's been interesting watching the Governor of California's reaction because, as I said, California is the fifth biggest economy in the world, and he has been really doubling down, saying California will be supporting clean energy, will be supporting innovation, and describing it as Californian values. And of course, a lot of the innovation happens in California. So what we saw under the previous Trump administration is that California did keep really pushing ahead on these sorts of innovations. The other thing around the Inflation Reduction Act is a lot of the money, 3/4 of it, has gone into Republican districts, and already Republican House Congress Republicans have been saying, actually, we still want that money to be coming in.
We'll do both. We'll get the clean energy money, thanks. We'll also get more oil.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of, a state like Texas has a huge amount of wind power, for instance, and there's a lot of enthusiasm to keep that going.
Amanda, thank you so much for your time this morning. We should also say Gavin Newsom, the Governor of California, may have been a candidate in the Democratic primary. Had there been one, he may, well, there's a very good chance probably in 2028 he might be there trying to run for the White House too. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me.